In the previous session, we discussed definitions and keywords. In this session, we are going to discuss different data points and examples. Let's start. India has a rich cultural diversity. But how to prove that? That's the aim of the next few slides because questions are asked on different aspects of diversity. We have provided data or examples on all the aspects of diversity. Coming to the language diversity, you can remember these two numbers to prove the language diversity in India. Please note that 19,000 includes both languages and dialects and 121 is only about languages which are spoken by at least 10,000 people. To remember any other facts on language diversity because there are many mistakes in the information provided by different coaching centers. We have verified thoroughly. You can safely remember these two facts. Please also note this point. This is an important case related to this topic. In this case, SC held that minority aspects should be decided at the state level. Most of the slides that we discuss next are self-explanatory. In India, there are 28 states and 8 union territories, but there are 121 languages spoken by at least 10k people. What it implies within each state, there are many cultural pockets. You can also draw a simple state map and indicate different cultural regions. For example, Maharashtra has 5 different regions. Coming to racial diversity. This data 6 racial groups and this keyword ethnological museum could be used to prove racial diversity. You can use this fact 705 ethnic groups to prove tribal diversity in India. No, these development is a government priority. So we have given separate data point for Northeast to prove its rich diversity. 136 recognized STs and 250 ethnic communities. This slide will explore the concept of unity in diversity through a conceptual diagram. We'll compare the European model of unity in uniformity with India's model. We'll also highlight the core values that make India's model so special. Unity, as we discussed, is the state of being integrated. This integration comes out when there is a feeling of oneness. Achieving oneness in a homogeneous population is easy. Since there are less cultural barriers, effective communication is always possible. This effective communication facilitates the exchange of ideas, values, and perspectives. It removes misunderstandings, avoids stereotypes, and builds trust. The value facilitates such a communication is tolerance. If there's a more trust, more tolerance, and less tension, reduced tensions is a major step towards building a shared identity. This is the biggest roadblock. Shared identity develops when every person in India feels, I am an Indian. The value facilitates this. Shared identity is accommodation from cultural dimension. This feeling emerges when India as a whole acknowledges and accommodates cultural identity of all the communities. Could you give some examples of this accommodation ex national holidays? Jan population constitutes 0.4% according to Census 2011. But Mahavir Jayanti is a national holiday. India has utilized multiple channels to build this shared identity. A shared identity among diverse people necessarily lead to unity in diversity. Let's pause here and try to see how we could use the data and examples to improve answer. Here we will try to improve all the points given after the completion of the topic scheduled tribe. For the time being, we will improve only the introduction because this has direct connection to this topic I diversity. This introduction is below average. It just repeats the question here. Compare this introduction with the previous one. This data point nicely proves the point on tribal diversity, and lets evaluator know your command over subject. We discussed India has a rich diversity. Now we will discuss about unity. But how to prove that India has strong unity along with its rich cultural diversity? These are some good self-explanatory examples which you can use to prove the unity in diversity. We try to capture examples across all the possible dimensions. UPSC has repeatedly asked questions on this theme. Reasons for continuity. These are some good standard pointers on this theme. 2 points I would like to highlight here. 1. Early spiritual development. Spiritual journey reached its peak in the BC era itself in India. The values of tolerance and accommodation, which are difficult to see even today in other countries, are present in India in the BC era itself. The most popular example is Ashoka inscriptions. 2nd point, religions may divide, but spirituality unites. Why? Religions may divide because of doctrinal differences, historical conflicts, or social identity. Religious affiliation has become a strong part of social identity. This can lead to in-group bias and prejudice towards those of other faiths. How spirituality can unite? Spirituality mainly focuses on core human experiences like love, suffering, and the search for meaning or purpose. This shared ground can create a sense of connection among all individuals. Also, spiritual development promotes self-awareness. This leads to letting go of ego or self-centeredness and attachment to material things. This can lead to a sense of inner peace and contentment, reducing the urge for conflict and competition. These 2 are very good points and could be used across the topics of Society Security GS4 and Essay. This is another example to prove unity in diversity.